Hey folks, it's Nate. It's time I got back to the drawing board. There was an idea to bring together a group of exceptional individuals in the name of customer service, good stories. It was called Comicsgate. And people who founded that done a lot of incredible things. There are a lot of people who looked up to them, tried to be like them, used them as role models, how to be successful in the field of independent comics and good storytelling. And as of late, I've come to wonder whether what we've really been sold on is customer service and good storytelling, or if it was just a club, like all the mainstream publishers are. It's a bit unfortunate, because it was a good idea. I think it came from a good place. But unless you keep sight of your principles, good ideas, they can pretty rapidly peter out. If it's a principle, when a bunch of people come at you with criticisms, unfair criticisms, mean-spirited criticisms perhaps, but criticisms nonetheless, you don't turn your back on the principle. You might do it if it's a club. You might just turn around and walk out and say, I'm done with you people. If it was a principle, well, you gotta stand by it. Even though the criticisms may not be fair, even though they may hurt, even though you were doing something legitimate. I don't think that Doug turning around and saying, I'm not going to use the Comicsgate label anymore was a good idea. I mean, the Comicsgate principle was good storytelling, good customer service. And to a lot of people who don't know the context, it's going to sound a lot like Doug's turned his back on that. It's too bad. I'm pretty sure he hasn't. I'm still going to back his projects. I have to wonder whether Doug was invested in a principle, or if he was just, going with the flow because he saw a lot of people who he knew would enjoy his work. There's nothing wrong with that. That's what an artist does. They find people who enjoy their work, and they share it with them. There's nothing wrong with that. But it does kind of make you question, was there a principle at all in this, or was it just a bunch of creative types getting together? I mean, I have no problem with that. That's how most good publishing companies come about. But thought there was principles underneath it too. I gotta wonder too, if you have a group of people who see someone, go outside that group and say, I got to go over here, guys, and work with this group of people for a bit. And they're a little leery of you, but, I'm going to do the best I can with them. And maybe we can bring them into the fold. And everybody looks at him and says, oh, man, you're a traitor. That doesn't make any sense at all. Good customer service includes finding new customers, guys. You got to get out there. And you don't have to put your label for good customer service in their face. If customer service is a principle, they'll figure it out from the way you act. Doug has done his best, and on the customer service front, I really don't have a whole lot to fault him with. I know he had a bunch of major mix-ups in fulfilling one of the perks on his last campaign. Those things happen. Business is a tough place, and there's really no good way for Doug to go about fulfilling his promise to a small number of his backers without causing huge problems for the rest of his backers. He promised them an exclusive product, and he's got to make good on that promise. He can't just run them off a soft cover or, a special printing and create an even more valuable, even more limited edition run. Now, you can debate whether exclusivity is a good business practice or not. It's what he promised. He has to make good on his deal. And, as for this whole thing with the Earthworm Jim license, that license is out of his hands still. I mean, he gets to play around with it, but people can take it from him at any time. If he wants to reach the people that, he can with that Earthworm Jim license, he's going to have to do it by their rules. And I don't see how that's a betrayal of customer service at all. There are a lot of people, myself included, who remember Earthworm Jim fondly. Actually, a shocking amount. Until the last couple of weeks, I never realized that there was so many people in the country that remembered, the platformer with the crazy talking earthworm in it. Why you would be upset with him simply because he reached out to another part of his customer base in an attempt to serve them and provide them with the same customer service he provides to Comicsgate baffles me. Unless you thought this was a club. If you thought this was a club of creative people who got together and stuck together and had to do everything together and were, going to be just like all the mainstream publishers who worked together and backed each other up on every little thing and, always worked under the same label. If that's what you thought, well, then it wasn't about the principle of customer service, was it? It was about the club. I suppose there's nothing wrong with, clubs and companies and production houses, but I thought it was more than that. I thought there was a principle at work. I guess the vast majority of people are not interested in the principle. They're interested in the memes and the kayfabe and, the general spirit of fun and community that comes out of a fan club or something like that. I suppose there's nothing wrong with that in principle. But there are other principles at work. I thought one of them that we set out was customer service. You gotta look out for it. Jay Ishiro Finney from 01 Publishing, he's been stiffed out by a bunch of artists who were wearing that Comicsgate label. Just heard about that this week. Man, that really sticks in my craw too. If you're an artist and you're contracted with a writer, that writer is your customer. You got to provide him with good service. That's what this was about. It was about providing good products for good money. It shouldn't really matter what the label is. It shouldn't really matter if it's a customer in a store or if it's a writer who's contracted for your art. You're supposed to do right by him. I guess I'm a little pissed. But, these things do happen. I intend to stick by the principle. Good customer service. Good stories. Being open to everyone. And I guess I kind of hope, the rest of Comicsgate will too. Maybe it'll blow over. That would probably be for the best. But in the meantime, I guess log out for a bit. Cool off for a bit. Remember, it's about doing right by other people, not about maintaining your stupid clubs. That's all I got to say for tonight. If you enjoyed that, there's a like button and subscribe button down below. Use them as you see fit, and I'll talk to you later.